Hello, I'm Bonnie Bay. Welcome to this special edition of To the Contrary. We're here in Southern California, where we're going to introduce you to the new Americans and the burgeoning industry that's growing up around them. Yan Lihao is one such new American. He was born in Los Angeles in 2012 to Chinese parents who came to the U.S. to deliver him. That so their child would be an American citizen.
My baby's called. His English name is Leo Young. His Chinese name is Yang Lihao.
Yang Bo is an affluent interior designer in Shanghai. His wife would not talk to us about why she had her child in the U.S. while on a tourist visa, but he explained U.S. citizenship would give his son a better life. Yang was particularly concerned about access to healthier food. He also, surprisingly, talked about access to food stamps. But the main reason is to give his son a better, less expensive education.
Regarding financial advantages, if in the U.S., he will have some. For example, the government will give him $300 to $500 US per month. This is only a shopping voucher, but in China, he cannot enjoy these benefits. The other benefits are free education, healthier food, unlike in China where these days we don't dare to eat anything. I do believe the American education system is better than the Chinese education system. Really, it is better. What they do for the child's creative ability and the freer study environment are far superior to China.
Yang Bo and his wife are part of a growing trend, engaged in a practice known as birth tourism. Pregnant women from countries such as China, Korea, Taiwan, and Turkey enter the U.S. on tourist visas with the intention of delivering their babies on U.S. soil. In fact, it's becoming so widespread, in China there's a new hit movie about it.
You are single?
I'm a single lady. I'm a single lady.
周日要去公园，否则我不理你。
The practice is legal through a constitutional loophole, but is highly unethical. U.S. embassies won't grant visas to women timing their visits so they can give birth in the U.S. So most women hide their pregnancies or get their visas before their pregnancies start to show. The 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was approved by Congress just after the Civil War, primarily to guarantee citizenship for African Americans. It declares in part, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. Whether that includes children of foreign parents is in dispute due to a legal debate over the meaning of jurisdiction. Despite that, it is being used by a growing number of foreign women to deliver here. In 2000, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported that more than 5,000 infants were born here to foreign mothers. In 2008, the latest year for which data are available, the number was just fewer than 7,500. But many say those numbers are woefully underreported. Here's how birth tourism works. Brokers advertise, offering package deals to women who want to have their newborns become U.S. citizens. These women are often accompanied by their husbands, who are an integral part of the planning process. Jinan Tashi reports for the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin and has been covering the ballooning trend as more women arrive to give birth in Southern California.
This is kind of a birthing package where, everything is pre-set up for you, and then, everything from where you're going to stay, where you're going to go while you are here, if you're doing any vacationing while you're here, visiting your doctor's offices, whether you're having a natural birth or whether you're having a C-section, and then all of your meals are included. And that price tag has been reported to be about $100,000.
The women stay in what are called birthing centers or maternity hotels. They are advertised as luxury hotels or high-end housing.
This is another area in the website where it actually kind of tells you what the facilities to the birthing, the maternity hotels look like. And so you can see some of them have pools.
When the women arrive, they find few are luxurious, and most are just cut-up single-family homes or apartment complexes. The birthing centers are scattered nationwide, with many in New York and Southern California. This birthing center is located in Chino Hills, California, just east of Los Angeles. It is zoned as a single-family home with 7 bedrooms, but the agency owner subdivided it into 17 bedrooms and 17 bathrooms, a clear violation of California building and zoning laws.
A lot of changes to the home that were done without permits, and this is against code enforcement law. And more importantly, the city had an issue with the fact that they were operating a hotel out of a residential home, and that is against code enforcement rules.
After seeing a lot of activity in the area and large groups of pregnant women walking around, neighbors started to question what was going on.
At first, we're like, oh, maybe it's like human sex trafficking, or, something really weird is going on and it's not right.
Then they learned the house was being used as a maternity hotel.
On an ethical level, I think it's very concerning. It's not very American. As an immigrant myself, I came over here when I was 8 years old. My father came over here first, left our entire family, worked 2 jobs, earned enough money to send money to get visas for our family. We came over here. We're all citizens now. We're very proud to be Americans, and we worked really hard at it. And essentially, this birth tourism, it's like buying citizenship.
Rosanna Mitchell is the leader of Not in Chino Hills.
Not here, not anywhere. Not here, not anywhere.
If you come here, you can buy your citizenship, $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Essentially, you can come have your baby here and then go back to your country.
Homeowners protested after seeing cars and vans driving through their neighborhood and groups of pregnant Chinese women walking around. Finally, a septic tank overflowed down the hill.
Yeah, the sewage was coming down the hill on the left side on these homes over here, and it's coming from the home itself. And the smell was apparently horrendous.
Jim Gallagher also protested, since he lives in the neighborhood and was affected by the sewage overflow.
I never thought this could happen here. At the same time, I do believe they think that we would just roll over, that we're a sleepy community and we would do nothing about this.
It was very weird, it was very surreal, because why would this happen here? But the traffic going up and down, all the women coming and going, and
the fact of the matter is the Chino Hills residents are not willing to take this lying down. Chino Hills residents stood their ground. We call attention to city officials about this. We call attention to the property owner that we weren't going to stand for this.
Today it's Chino Hills, it's Corona, Eastvale, Rowland Heights. Tomorrow it's going to be all of Southern California.
Even members of the Chinese American Association of Chino Hills are against birth tourism.
I feel it's not right, and I think I did all whatever necessary to get my citizenship from beginning until now. And I think that's the right process to do it.
I have a soft spot for those people who wanted to come in the United States because, like myself, I came from outside the United States. But I went through the legal process, the right way of doing it. It's not the fault of those pregnant women. Any parent would like to have their children have a better life. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, this business of maternity hotels is doing it in a way that I feel it's exploiting the Constitution of the United States.
The protest, media attention, and scores of complaints led the LA City Council to take action.
What we've received is many more complaints from neighbors who have sort of been, low-key because they were afraid. There has been intimidation in neighborhoods. All of a sudden, we've had, I think, 72 complaints. Complaints being someone to say, hey, I think it's going on in my neighborhood, or they see a group walking in a park, and they all happen to be pregnant.
Birth tourism violates the spirit, but not the letter of the law. Owners were punished with relatively inconsequential zoning violations. Local officials want to pass laws that give them the power to shut down birthing centers and collect taxes that are not being paid.
Obviously, the tax issue would be a huge hit to everyone. People at this end in town or in the area that might not be reporting the cash payments that they get to perform, all those kinds of issues. So that's a huge cost. Neighbors started complaining about bloody sheets and afterbirth and all the kinds of things that they've been dealing with that they've been afraid to say anything about. What we don't know is what we don't know, and the problem is these mothers would have no way of knowing whether they're receiving a legitimate birth certificate. We don't know if there's been any deaths or injuries because of this.
Opposition to birth tourism, both by public officials and people who live nearby these operations, is not just based on lost taxpayer revenue or public nuisances. We learned that there's also a huge concern about the health and safety of the women who come here to have their children and the infants they bear.
The real issue is the public safety and the health issues that we're trying to avoid the complications and to make sure that these babies and these mothers are in good, healthy conditions. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
In fact, the brokers create major health hazards and cheat the California government out of taxes they should pay since they are doing business here. Daniel Deng is a lawyer who represents women who have gone through birth tourism brokers and are now suing them. He says many of the women are being scammed in several ways.
And you enjoy a very good health system, healthcare service in the United States. And many mothers are complaining because when they come over here, they were showing that one woman should have one room and one caretaker taking care of the baby. But when they come over here, once the baby is delivered, they have 10 babies. They're crying every night. And only one caretaker took care of the 10 mother or the 10 baby.
Deng says one healthcare worker was so overworked, she dropped a baby and the baby died. Then there are concerns over what the brokers represent and what they deliver.
And there's so many brokers in China who are competing for their business. So when they first came over here, it turned out that the living condition is not what they promised in China. And frankly, many of those brokers in China, they never been to the United States. So they would present a misperception and they would get the 5-star hotel photos and paste that, you're going to stay here, or get the 5-star hotel as a hospital, that this is what you're going to get.
Instead, what these women are getting are apartments such as these. Deng, as well as nearby residents, blame the birth center operators.
It's definitely the people who are running the business that should be put the blame on. Definitely, because they're reaping the benefits, essentially making a lot of money off these women. They're exploiting them, the way I see it. And some of these poor women come over here thinking they're going to be taken care of, and everything's substandard. And that's why elected officials need to step up to the plate, because we're not just dealing with illegal business, we're also dealing with life, human life, these poor babies that perhaps are going to be born in substandard care.
California taxpayers are also apparently being scammed. Operators of maternity hotels promise private doctors and private hospitals and charge the women accordingly. Instead, when the women arrive in the U.S., brokers take advantage of the fact they don't speak English. They trick the women into signing applications for state assistance called Access for Infants and Mothers, and that's illegal. Lawyer Deng says some of the women have actually been charged with fraud.
When the mother was delivering a baby, the broker, the operator, here would fill out all the form and claiming that the mother is a California resident. Many of the foreign tourists, they come over here, they don't speak English, and they just sign all the papers. In their mind, it's necessary paper to get the service rendered. So once they sign the paper, and lo and behold, those are applications for the EMS program. I've been advocating in the Chinese community and to the Chinese authority that you have to have a better regulation of the broker who force advertising and make sure they get bond for it, and make sure they have some channel to complain when they went back to China. They could complain that this broker, is a crook, and they should have some kind of recourse from China end. But at the same time, if we could not stop them coming over here, how are we going to regulate it and make sure the woman coming here getting the health care, and make sure our taxpayer are not footing the bill, and make sure our system is not being taken advantage of?
There are many reasons why women want to deliver on U.S. soil. Not only do they believe our healthcare system is better, they believe, as parents, they are protected from political persecution if they have a U.S. citizen in the family.
American consulate and American ambassador, they're very aggressive in protecting their citizenship, citizens. So when a country is in turmoil, American embassy will be the first one who rescue their own residents, own citizens.
They also want to be able to take advantage of better, less expensive educational opportunities for their children. But whether birth tourism is hurting or helping the U.S. economy is an unanswered question.
It's been a mixed reaction. I mean, there are some readers who have said, well, this is what makes America, and that it's a melting pot. And why shouldn't somebody come in from overseas and try to get a U.S. citizenship? Good for us in America for being a country that people want to be in. But I have other readers that have called and say, how dare they? They are, taking advantage of the 14th Amendment, and they're finding a loophole in the system to become American citizens, and shame on them for trying to do so.
Birth tourism is hardly new. In fact, it's been going on for decades. We're about to introduce you to a young woman who was born in the U.S. while her mother was here on a tourist visa and just graduated from the University of California at Davis.
Meet 23-year-old Jennifer Shi. She looks and acts like any young college student, but Jennifer's different. Her Taiwanese mother gave birth to her in New York City while in the U.S. on a tourist visa, making Jennifer a U.S. citizen.
So why did your parents decide to time it so you were born in New York?
It was because my grandma and my uncle was in New York. They were in New York already, and then my mom was just visiting them, and that's when she decided to have me, because my grandmother can take care of me. They just feel like 20 years ago, they just feel like America is more, you can get a lot more opportunity here in terms of jobs. And then she took me back when I was 3 months old to Taiwan.
Jennifer lived in Taiwan for the next 15 years.
So you grew up thinking you were Taiwanese?
I grew up thinking I'm Taiwanese, even though on the car it says I was born in New York. And then people will make fun of me and say, oh, you're a New Yorker and stuff, but I don't even speak the language, or I didn't speak the language.
One day when Jennifer was 15, Jennifer's parents told her she was moving to the U.S. to go to school.
So when your parents told you you were moving to the United States, how did they tell you?
I was kind of sad that when they told me I had to come here for high school, because all my friends are still in Taiwan, and it's it's like another new environment. And I was never really angry with them. I kind of just did what they told me to do. Yeah, and I just followed what they wanted to do.
She landed in Utah, living with a family friend. It was a tough time for her.
Yeah, I didn't speak any English before I came here. I was really scared because I was actually the only Asian in school. So I had I had no one to talk to, and I had to force myself to learn the language like as soon as possible so I can communicate and talk to friends, make friends.
Jennifer's dad joined her. Their next move was to Idaho. Her parents then decided if Jennifer lived in California, she could get a good education and pay in-state tuition rates. That saved her family almost $23,000 a year for 4 years. But many believe it is the taxpayers of California or any state where a birth tourism baby ends up going to school who have to make up the difference.
I believe I got a better education here in America because I don't know, I just feel there's more. It's not just about taking classes, there's after school program, like you can be on a sports team, like play volleyball, and that helps a lot. Helps a lot with my education, like instead of just going to school for like 12 hours in Taiwan. Yeah, I feel like that definitely helped a lot. Yeah. I would say a plus in my life, because definitely more opportunity, more job opportunity.
What do other students think of Jennifer's story?
They're competing with a lot of other students who really need the in-state tuition, and as somebody who receives a lot of financial aid for coming over here, I don't know, I wouldn't want to see that personally taken away from me because somebody else is coming over.
If people are just using tourism as a means to, have their kid here, I can't say I blame them because they are getting a better life, but I mean, it is still illegal to me.
Even so, after 8 years of living the American dream, Jennifer is torn.
I think I would always think that I'm more Taiwanese than American. When I see myself in the mirror, because, I don't know, it's just, I grew up in Taiwan, and then I'm just so used to the culture and everything, it's going to be hard for me to consider myself as an American.
We found Jennifer after she was profiled by reporter Richard Chang of the Sacramento Bee. After that story ran, she learned many Americans don't support birth tourism, and they aren't afraid to say so.
Most of the comments are really harsh and really harmful, and they're like, "Oh, Jennifer doesn't deserve to live in the States, and it's legal to have her here," and it's really harsh. But then I feel like I don't think me and my mom are doing anything illegal, like, 'cause she came here, and then I just feel like I'm like any other immigrants here, like they took time to get their green card and visa and came here and moved here. And I feel like this is what America, because it's about diversity. It's really diverse, that you can see any race anywhere,
After graduating, Jennifer returned to Taiwan for a long visit and landed a job. Attorney Deng told us American-educated Asians earn very high salaries when they work for American companies with offices in their homelands, more than they would have made otherwise. However, a few months later, she learned she could not stay in the country as a tourist, and she had to give up her job and move back to California.
What's your goal? Where do you see yourself living?
I would say find a job, get married. I would like to raise my kids in Taiwan, instead of America. Like my situation, kind of want to raise them in Taiwan first for about 10 years and then move back to America. I just kind of want to teach them, the culture I grew up in.
Like Jennifer's parents, Young Bo and his wife have to decide when it is most advantageous to send Leo to the United States. He's thinking he'll send Leo over after a few years of early schooling. But the decision for this family and so many others will be made many times until the child turns 18.
对，因为小孩子现在只是刚第一步拿到了美国。
Now the baby has just accomplished the first step, which is to obtain American citizenship. The citizenship is just a piece of paper. But to integrate into America is a very gradual process. To integrate into American society, to integrate into the American masses, to become a real American. This is a very long process. So it is an experiment. Maybe once again, I will become amongst my friends the first person to eat a crab.
That's it for this edition of To the Contrary. Please follow me on Twitter @BonnieUrbay or @ToTheContrary, and check out our website, pbs.org/ToTheContrary, where the discussion continues. And whether you agree or think to the contrary, please join us next time.